to discuss some of the routine messages that you're going to write as part of routine business correspondence. Specifically, this video will discuss positive messages. So let's get started. There are certain characteristics of positive messages. They're going to share the following traits. Most of them are going to be very routine and straightforward. They help workers conduct business every day. They really do make up the bulk of workplace communication, and they require solid writing skills. Because there are so many positive messages and neutral messages that happen in the business world, it's really important that these messages are succinct, clear, and concise. The first type of positive message we're going to look at are direct requests. This is when you are writing a message to someone because you need something and you are going to ask them for it. Direct requests are when you imagine that your audience will be positively receptive or even neutral to your message. In a direct request, you're going to open with the most important question or information first. Go ahead and just outright ask your question or express a command. What you want to do is avoid long explanations preceding the main idea. So you don't want to start your message, "Hello, my name is, here's all the things that I want." In your body, explain the request logically and courteously. List any questions or requests that you have in numbered or bulleted form. And remember, numbers are only used if they're steps in a process or rankings. And whenever possible, use open-ended questions instead of yes or no questions. Finally, make sure that you're suggesting reader benefits if at all possible. In your closing, you are going to always state specifically what action is going to be taken. This is almost a repetition of what you're opening. Be sure that you mention an end date. And if there's a reason for that date that you need the information by, go ahead and mention that as well. Finally, make it easy for the receiver to respond. Most people, when they're writing emails and direct requests, are going to write overly long introductions and openings that are going to bury the information unnecessarily. So in this case, you can see that this opening paragraph, the subject line doesn't really tell me what the writer wants. This opening paragraph doesn't ask for what they want either. If we revise this message, it can be much more succinct. So now we have a subject line that specifically gives the request, and then the first line of the message, again, repeats that request. Down below, the information is bulleted out so that someone can get the information very quickly, reading or just skimming, and we have end dates in mind as well. Our next type of positive message is a direct claim. A direct claim might be taken as a negative message because you're asking a business to make a reparation or to fix an issue, but really it's considered a positive message because you expect a positive outcome and you are trying to kind of encourage positive business relations. So again, because it's a positive message, you want to open with a direct opening that describes the desired action clearly and right away. If you have a remedy in hand, make sure that you state that briefly right away in the opening, and request an explanation when the remedy isn't obvious. In the body, once you state what you'd like, you're going to explain your claim. Explain to your reader, your audience, why that claim is justified, and give details describing the action that you want. In the closing, make sure that you end pleasantly with a goodwill statement. Remember, even though a claim message is trying to rectify an error, this is still a positive message. So everything about the tone of this message needs to be positive. Include an end date whenever you can, and when appropriate, some sort of way to have an action or contact information. The third kind of positive message we're going to talk about are adjustment messages. Adjustment messages are the responses that a company provides to a claim. So when a company receives a claim and decides to respond favorably, that's called an adjustment message, and it has 3 goals. The first goal is to fix the wrong, rectify the wrong if one exists. But the next 2 goals are just as important. You want to regain the confidence of the customer and, most importantly, promote further business. So, your writing plan for an adjustment message, if there's a subject line, you want to identify any previous correspondence. This is really important in an email. Your opening should be direct. Don't waste time with pleasantries or apologies. Grant the request or announce the adjustment immediately. Don't sound grudging or reluctant. Again, these are positive messages, so you want your overall tone to be positive. In the body of the message, that's how you're going to do those second two parts of the adjustment message. You're going to provide details about how you're complying with the request. You want to regain the customer's confidence and really talk about how your business is going to work diligently to avoid disappointing customers in the future. Apologies are tricky. You can offer an apology, but only once in any message, only if appropriate, and never admit negligence because these messages can be used in legal situations. Also, in the body, make sure you're not using negative words. Remember, this is a positive message. Even if the customer might be at fault, avoid blaming them or blaming anyone in your organization. And above all, don't make any unrealistic promises. You can't guarantee that a situation is never going to recur, so don't promise that it won't. In your closing, keep that upbeat and positive tone by expressing appreciation that the customer wrote to you. You always want to end positively with a forward-looking thought, and then try to suggest future business relations. Whatever you do, you want to avoid any sort of unpleasantness by apologizing a second time or mentioning what went wrong. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, but this is a quick overview of positive messages. You can find specific writing plans in your textbook.